Good morning, class 6. We will continue with History, Chapter 11, Buildings, Paintings, and Books. That day, we have read about Marutsami, who was very excited when he came to know that he is going to visit the Iron Pillar. Most of you must have seen the Iron Pillar, although just by looking at it, we will not say that it's something very special until and unless a person knows about its history, that it is 1600 years old. Now, the other question arises that how come this iron pillar is surviving till date? So, the credit or the kudos we can give to the metallurgy in that era, right? That it has not rusted till date. Ancient Indian metallurgists have major contributions, and you can say that it was the pinnacle of the Indian metallurgy, that it had survived till date. Then we have talked about that it is at Mehrauli, and we have discussed about its height and weight, right? Now, some historians, okay, in your book it is written 1500, but most of the historians believe that it is almost 1600 years old, right? And we have talked about the stupas. One of the famous stupa is the Sanchi stupa. You have seen the picture in your book itself. Then we have talked about the temple at Bhitragaon in Uttar Pradesh, and what all is there in a temple, that a tower which is known as Shikhar was built on the top of Garbhagriha. Garbhagriha was a place where the idol of the Lord was kept. Before I forget, I will just like to tell you one more thing, there is a question which comes up in the mind, that why this iron pillar was even built. So, although people do not have answer to this question, but then there are historians who believe that it is Chandragupta built, got it constructed, and it was for Lord Vishnu, and that, like, some people believe that that's why it is able to survive till date, right? Then we have talked about how were the stupas and temples built, that there were several stages in building a stupa or a temple. Usually kings or queen decided, since they were the lords, they took the decision that where the temple or the stupa should be built up, and it was an expensive affair. First of all, the stone which should be used in building it up was decided, then it was transported to the place which was decided for building up the temple. Then here these rough blocks of stone had to be shaped and carved into pillars and panels for walls, floors and ceilings, and then these had to be placed in precisely the right position. So they have to be placed in a right position, in proper position, and then the temples or stupas were built up. Kings and queens probably spent money from their treasury to pay the crafts persons who worked to build these splendid structures. Besides, when devotees came to visit the temple or the stupa, they often brought gifts which were used to decorate the buildings. For example, an association of ivory workers paid for one of the beautiful gateways at Sanchi. Among the others who paid for decorations were merchants, farmers, garland makers, perfumers, smiths, and hundreds of men and women who were known only by their names, which were inscribed on the pillars, railings, and walls. So, when you get a chance to visit any of these buildings, remember how several hundreds of people probably worked to construct and decorate them. So, the names of the people who were involved in making it have been inscribed there. Paintings. Find Ajanta on map 7, page 105. This is a place where several caves were hollowed out of the hills over centuries. Most of these were monasteries for Buddhist monks, and some of them were decorated with paintings. Here are some examples. As the caves are dark inside, Most of these paintings were done in the light of torches. The colors, which are vivid even after 1500 years, were made of plants and minerals. The artist who created these splendid work of art remain unknown. Now we don't know that who has contributed in making these beautiful paintings, and it is believed that since it is a cave and it is very dark inside, so they must have used some sort of torch so that they could have done these work. The world of books. Some of the best known epics were written during this period. Epics are grand, long compositions about heroic men and women and include stories about gods. A famous Tamil epic, the Silla Padikaram, was composed by a poet named Ilanga around 1800 years ago. It is the story of a merchant named Kovalan who lived in Puhar and fell in love with a courtesan named Madhavi, neglecting his wife, Kanagi. Later, he and Kanagi left Puhar and went to Madurai, where he was wrongly accused of theft by the court jeweler of Pandya king. The king sentenced Kovalan to death. Kanagi, who still loved him, was full of grief and anger at this injustice and destroyed the entire city of Madurai. So this is the whole, you can say the crux of the story, that Silla Padikaram, which is an epic written in Tamil by Ilango. It's a story about Kovalan, who was a merchant and he was married, but he fell in love with a courtesan who and obviously in that he neglected his own wife. So they lived in Puhar, and so when he fell in love, he started neglecting his wife Kanagi. But then later, what happened that he left Puhar along with Kanagi and went to Madurai, where a court jeweler, he accused, who was in the Pandya court, who has accused him of theft, and because of that that means Kovalan was put to death. But then Kanagi loved him so much, and in the anger, or you can say, she just destroyed the whole entire city. A description from Silla Padikaram. Here is how the poet describes Kanagi's grief. O witness of my grief, you cannot console me. Is it right that your body, fairer than pure gold, lies unwashed here in the dust? Is it just that in the red glow of the twilight, your handsome chest, framed with a flower wreath, lies thrown down on the bare earth, while I remain alone, helpless, and abandoned to despair? Is there no God? Is there no God in this country? Can there be a God in a land where the sword of king is used for the murder of innocent strangers? Is there no God? No God? Another Tamil epic, the Manamakalai, was composed by Satanar around 1400 years ago. This describes the story of the daughter of Kovalan and Madhavi. These beautiful compositions were lost to scholars for many centuries, till their manuscripts were rediscovered about 100 years ago. Other writers such as Kalidas, about whom you read in chapter 10, wrote in Sanskrit. So one more Tamil epic is there, which is, you can say, a continuation of Silla Padikaram. The name is Menamakalai, which was written by Satanar. This is the story of daughter of Kovalan and Madhavi. I'm sorry children, just a moment. Okay, and then you have already read about Kalidas, who wrote in Sanskrit and about whom we have read in the previous chapter. A verse from Meghdut, which is written by Kalidas. Here is a verse from Kalidas' best known poem, the Meghdut, in which a monsoon cloud is imagined to be a messenger between lovers who are separated from one another. See how the poet describes the breeze that will carry the cloud northwards. A cool breeze, delightful as it is touched with the fragrance of the earth, swollen by your showers, inhaled deeply by elephants, and causing the wild figs to ripen, will blow gently as you go. Do you think Kalidas can be described as a lover of nature? Obviously, he is just like personifying, sort, or you can say he is also talking about uh, the breeze, which is like he's saying that it is like a conversation, or the you can say that the monsoon cloud has become a messenger. So it is obviously a personification, and that is bringing the message for one lover from the other. Recording and preserving old stories. A number of Hindu religious stories that were in circulation earlier were written down around the same time. These include the Puranas. Purana literally means old. The Puranas contain stories about gods and goddesses such as Vishnu, Shiva, Durga, or Parvati. They also contain details on how they were to be worshipped. Besides, there are accounts about the creation of the world and about kings. The Puranas were written in simple Sanskrit verse and were meant to be heard by everybody, including women and Shudras, who were not allowed to study the Vedas. They were probably recited in temples by priests, and people came to listen to them. Two Sanskrit epics, the Mahabharata and Ramayana, had been popular for a very long time. Some of you may be familiar with these stories. The Mahabharata is about a war fought between the Kauravas and Pandavas, who were cousins. So, there are a lot of stories which have been compiled and saved in Puranas. Purana itself, this is a term which is in Hindi, and like this, here you can see that they were written in simple Sanskrit language, and it was like for Shudras as well as for women, whereas the Vedas could not be read by the women or Shudras. So you must have seen or must be familiar with the stories of Mahabharata and Ramayana. This was a war to gain control of the throne of Kurus and their capital Hastinapur. The story itself was an old one, but was written down in form in which we know it today, about 1500 years ago. Both the Puranas and the Mahabharata are composed to have been compiled by Vyas. The Bhagavad Gita, which you have learned in chapter 9, was also included in the Mahabharata. The Ramayana is about Ram, a prince of Kosala who was sent into exile, and for 14 years his wife Sita was abducted by the king of Lanka named Ravan, and Ram had to fight a battle to get her back. He won and returned to Ayodhya, the capital of Kosala, after his victory. Like the Mahabharata, this was an old story that was now written down. Valmiki is recognized as the author of the Sanskrit Ramayana, because we have different versions of Ramayana. Therefore, there are several versions, many of which are performed of the Mahabharata and the Ramayana, popular amongst people in different parts of the subcontinent. Find out about a version in your state. Okay, so you must be aware that these like Mahabharata and Ramayana have been translated in different languages, and they are in different versions, right? And if you people have seen on the television during the lockdown, like both these you can say serials have been again showcased, because so many of these children, or like the people of new generation, have become aware of the story, what all is there in Ramayana and Mahabharata, right? Although Ramayana is comparatively very simpler story, but Mahabharat is like where it has because it's the whole story has too many stories in itself, right? So that is all for today class. Take care of yourselves. Be safe at home. Thank you.